Historically, people have associated fast cars with things like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and McLarens, but over the last few years, car manufacturers have been coming out with crazy fast SUVs. And while I was scrolling Facebook Marketplace, I found this. I just bought a crash-damaged Porsche Cayenne, and under the hood is a 4.8-litre twin-turbo V8 engine making 550 horsepower. In 2013, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo S was one of the fastest SUVs in the world, doing 0 to 100 kilometers in just 4.3 seconds.
When I die and the limit to rest, gonna go to the place that's the best.
And back then, someone would have paid $250,000 for this exact car, but I paid just a fraction of that because there is some serious problems that we have to endure when fixing this thing. Now here's the catch with this Porsche Cayenne. Not only was it in an accident and I'm gonna have to fix it, it was also written off by insurance. So not only do I have to fix it and get it back on the road, I also have to take it to a VIV inspection. And they are not easy. Fingers crossed this Porsche is straight, otherwise I might have to put this build to an end. A VIV inspection is what's required to bring a written-off car back on the road and registered, and to pass it you need the following: manufacturer airbag reports, underbody measurements, a wheel alignment, a full repair diary explaining exactly how you repaired the car, and invoices for every single part you've used. So I've got to go through this insane process, and I'm going to take you along for the journey. So here it is. Here is our 2013 Porsche Cayenne. And obviously it's been in a front end collision, but what's worse is the fact that this is actually written off. So we're gonna have to go through the process of getting this thing back on the road with all the Australian inspections and all that. It's very difficult here, but upon first glance, hey, the damage isn't even that bad. What do you reckon?
Well, it doesn't look like there's any frame damage,
No.
which is pretty of a deal.
The front support is pretty good. Look at that. All the structural pieces look okay. So although the damage doesn't look that bad, the reason why we'll need to go through the VIV is because at the time this car was written off, it was less than 15 years old. That's why in the past I've been able to repair cars like the E63 and not have to go through these tedious inspections, which honestly doesn't make much sense because that car was definitely in a worse accident. Welcome to Australia. The car apparently does run and start. However, the battery is entirely dead, so let's try jump start it first, I reckon?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got the jump starter out, connected the positive and negative, and hopefully I get to hear this 4.8-litre twin-turbo V8 turn on for the very first time. Oh, we got power. We definitely have power. Check this out. Only a few warnings on the dash. Not too bad. That's concerning. Tire pressure. Oh no, actually, that's not too bad. Unfortunately, no luck with the jump starter, so we're gonna have to try something else. Of course. So it turns out the battery in these cars are under the passenger seat. I've never had a car with a battery under the passenger seat, dude. And it looks like someone's been here before. It seems like they've already tried to do something with the battery because the seat is just not bolted in, so that makes sense. Bunch of parts here, nice. Apparently, the battery is under here. So I checked out the battery and it was definitely beyond saving. 2 volts. So we got 2 volts of power. No wonder this thing's not starting. Fortunately, I've got many spare batteries from previous projects. So let's install this battery and see if the Porsche starts. Whoa. Big spark. We definitely have power. That's for sure. Let's see if it starts.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh, noises. There we go. It starts. No way. All right. So we're off to a good start. The engine runs. Let's see if it drives. The engine sounds quite healthy, which is a good sign. Looks like we didn't just buy a lemon. 250,000 kilometers on this, by the way. 250,000 kilometers, but this thing sounds awesome. Twin turbo V8, baby. Holy crap. So not bad at all, because it also drives. We'll have to take it out properly once we get it fixed. What sweetened the deal with this Porsche was also that the seller included all the parts that I needed to fix the car, so I don't need to order any parts because I have everything, which is going to make this process a lot easier. In the boot of this thing is every single part, hopefully, that we need in order to essentially get this thing back on the road, which was a massive selling point of the reason why we got this thing. I've already taken the bumper out. As you can see, we've got a bumper. Boxes and boxes of parts. And in here are some of the most expensive parts that we would have had to buy if it didn't come with it. For example, the headlights. Do you know how much these are worth?
$2,000.
Probably something like that. Nathan's right, they're very expensive, and there's also another reason why. The reason why these are also so expensive is because they're hard to find, and also people steal them because you can just pop these out with some simple tools and take the headlights. So luckily, this car came with the headlights as well. I wonder if we could just slot it in. What do you reckon?
I reckon, yeah.
Slot it in? That's it, build's done. Well, the build's definitely not done because here are all the other parts that we need in order to finish this car. But again, luckily it came with everything. Now, because it's a European car, there's like a million bits of plastic like this. I don't even know where that goes. I don't even know what that is. Now, the previous owner of this car actually bought another Cayenne in order to fix this thing. And he just gave up because obviously the process of getting a ridden off car back on the road is pretty intense. And all these parts came off the exact same car, which is gonna help us with the documentation in order to fix this thing, because we need to document every single part and all the VIN numbers need to be documented in order to pass inspections. So it's good everything came off the same car and the same person, so we only need one invoice, which will make things a lot easier. I guess the first thing that we're gonna do is put the headlights in because that should be the easiest thing, but before I do that, of course, I'm gonna take photos of everything. So, photo, 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 photo. This is what's required in order to pass a ridden off car and get it back on the road. Other than taking some photos and writing up the report, this rebuild shouldn't be too hard as the accident was pretty minor. It's just a case of figuring out where everything goes and installing everything correctly. The headlights are now in. Let's see if they work. They on? Yeah, baby! That looks good. I'm so glad that they work because they would have been very expensive to source. More parts, forgot to show you guys this before, but one of these is like slightly cracked, which is not gonna help us with the VIB report, but now you can see here, this is the original one. Just this little plastic piece would probably make us fail. So thankfully, the previous owner literally had every single part in order to finish this thing, and this looks like it should be fine. So the next thing to install was the radiator support, which is just really a piece of plastic that holds the radiator in place and also the bumper. Our one was slightly cracked, but of course the parts box had absolutely everything. And it turns out in order to install this, I did need to take off one of the intercoolers, but honestly, not that bad. Didn't notice this, but looks like I gotta put this on before I put this on. So luckily it's only 2 bolts also holding this, so just gonna pry it back and fit this on. Turns out it wasn't that simple because these cars are like onions, and onions have layers. And in order to put everything back properly, you need to do things in the right order. So I had to take the crash bar off, then install the duct, and then install the radiator support. The next thing was the latch assembly, and then a few little small trim pieces which I didn't record, and that was basically everything done underneath the bumper. Now, one thing's for sure, before buying this Porsche Cayenne, I made sure to do a check on it to make sure I didn't get screwed over like my previous rebuild. The last crash car I bought, I got screwed over because it was rolled back.
Fraudsters looking to boost profits in the sale of a vehicle roll back the numbers on an odometer, duping buyers into thinking the car has fewer miles on it than it does.
The odometer had been tampered with, and I would have known this if I had done a history check. And that's why I did a motor registry report. Before I purchase any car from anyone, including the auctions, I do a check to see if there's any fishy history so I don't get screwed. The great thing about these reports is they give you more information than you think that you might need on the car that you're looking at, and doing a check like this might prevent you from losing thousands of dollars. Now, obviously the first thing that comes up is the fact that this Porsche is written off, hence why we need to go through the VIB inspection, but there's no finance owing. It also has details from the PPSR report, such as heavy panel damage to the passenger front, driver front, side, and also this car was once in Queensland. So if it's been logged, you can also trace back where the car was actually located. Unfortunately, there's no history on the odometer on this car, but if it was logged, there's a high chance Motor Registry would have picked it up. And you can also see if the car has any recalls that might not have been done. Lots of things go wrong in these. To prevent yourself from buying a lemon, make sure you get a check so you don't get screwed over like what happened to me in the past. The Porsche is now basically put back together. The only thing that it really needs now is the bumper. All the trim pieces are on. Headlights are out again because in order to put the bumper on, we need the headlights out so we don't scratch them. And unfortunately, our bumper is lightly scuffed. It's got a little bit of a mark down there, but that's all the car needs to fail. That's how strict this process is. It is unbelievably strict. How is that stopping the car going back on the road? So even a little scuff like this will cause the car to fail the VIV inspection. And that's because everything in the impacted collision zone needs to be repaired to manufacturer spec, which means yes, even this tiny little scuff will prevent this car from seeing the road again. Honestly, I think it's insanity. So I need to take the bumper to paint, and I'm gonna take the bonnet as well because it's a little bit faded. Bonnet now off, bumper is ready for paint, bonnet is ready for paint. Let's go to the paint shop. All right, we are now at Brayside Bodyworks with John. What's up, man? What's happening?
How are you?
If you remember John from the previous E63 build, he painted the E63 after my repair, and he did a killer job, probably the best that I've seen off the gun, and he's gonna be painting our Porsche bumper and Porsche bonnet. He's already seen the Porsche because we bought it round here.
Yeah, the week before you came, I was looking at Cayenne GDSs all the time. I'm like, oh, this is a great car. And then you called me up and you told me you got one.
We're gonna drop this off and hopefully get it back soon. A couple days later and everything was painted. And of course, John did another killer job on another black car. And if you need a paint job located in Southeast Melbourne, his contact details are on the screen and he does killer work. We are now back from Brayside Bodyworks and John absolutely killed this paint job. Black is a very hard color to paint and he nailed it. It's literally a mirror. Can you see my reflection in that?
Let me see.
You can see me?
Yep.
All we need to do now is finally install it. So everything on the car is ready to go. We'll install the bumper, bonnet, headlights. Probably start off with the bonnet first, but I'm excited. It's gonna look fresh. This Porsche is having a birthday. It's getting a freshly painted bonnet and bumper, and this time I got a mate to help me with the bonnet because although it's light, we want to make sure nothing goes wrong as it's freshly painted. Bonnet is now on, and now we need to install the bumper. I'm gonna lift the car up in the air with the hoist and slide the table with the bumper on it in place, and hopefully it works. We've got the car up on the hoist and it's going to make it so much easier installing this bumper because it's very heavy, and I had to do this solo because the guys were busy. I then connected up all the electrical components and the headlight sprayers, and the bumper was ready to go on. The bumper is basically on now. Just to sort of motivate me a bit more, I'm going to put in the headlight on this side because I just want to see everything together, painted. Let's chuck this in. Let's put the headlights back in. There's not much left, just the headlights, and this build is basically done. I can't wait to see how this thing drives, but we still have to do the VIV inspection. So guys, the Porsche is now done. Check this out, bumper painted, bonnet painted, and that honestly wasn't that hard. It's done. It's basically ready to go. The only hard part now is doing the VIV inspection. So for the past couple days, I've been writing this report up and my desk is messy because it has taken so dang long. It's basically like a school report. So school does come in handy, I guess. So this report basically documents everything that I've done, and it's up to the VIV inspector whether or not this report is good enough. I've also had to include manufacturer repair guides to prove that I was referencing the repair manuals in order to fix the car. But this is stage number 1 of this lengthy process in order to get a written off car back on the road. Fingers crossed. What do you think? Do you reckon I'll pass? Oh yeah, hopefully. But anyway, with the car now finished, let's take this 550 horsepower SUV for its first drive. Go to school. I think he liked it. Yeah, he loved it.
Come back.
This car made 550 horsepower back in 2013, and not in a sports car, but in an SUV. What was Porsche thinking? This thing is like the ultimate dad's car, the ultimate soccer mom's car. And because it's a twin turbo as well. Oh!
Jesus fuck.
Trust me guys when I say this thing is ridiculously fast. Especially for a 2-ton SUV, I was honestly blown away with how good this engine pulls. Such a good car, holy crap. But unfortunately, it's not over yet. I've written up my own repair diary, but I now need to go get a frame measurement report. And if it doesn't pass, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I just dropped the Porsche off to its frame report. It's gonna get checked corner to corner, and they're gonna do a specific point-to-point measurement on specific parts on the car. I've got pretty high confidence here because the car didn't have a big accident and the crash bar was totally straight. So it should be good, but you never know. A few hours later, we got the Cayenne back. This decides our fate. Okay, we are back from the frame report. And guys, we passed. So, this is the kind of stuff that they did. Look at that, point-to-point measurements. Like, that is crazy. The stuff that you have to do in order to get a VIB car back on the road is ridiculous. This is just one of the 3 things that we need to do. We've got photos of when the vehicle was looked at as well, which is perfect. We need this. So yeah, the frame report, we passed it. Now on to the next thing. The next thing was to take the car to Porsche to do an SRS check. And as you can see here, you need to get the check done by an authorized dealer. And because the Cayenne was in a heavy panel impact on the PPSR, we need to change out the driver's seatbelt, even though it is perfectly fine and functional. So this really doesn't make much sense, because with an older car that doesn't need to do this report, you don't even need to do this. And this unfortunately is going to cost a lot of money, because it's a Porsche at the end of the day. But first, check this out. This is what we want to do to the Cayenne in like an off-road version. Look at this. Bro, it's got beefy muddies on here. Dude, this thing's been out in the bush. Look at that. All right, let's take the Cayenne in. Hopefully it passes that as well. And again, I was pretty confident with this report because none of the airbags went off. We've got some good news and some bad news. We'll start off with the bad news. This cost me $3,500. So that's to get the seatbelt replaced, to get the SRS check done. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, because just remember, if this car was older, I wouldn't have to do this. That's what you got to do. Even though the seatbelt was totally fine, because it's been ridden off, it needed to be repaired and replaced. $2,500 for the seatbelt, fastening screws, look, $18 and all that. And then the SRS check was $563. And then we got a wheel alignment that printed that in color, which we need, and that was another $230. That is what I ended up spending. So basically, yeah, $3,350. The good news is that we passed. This thing has now passed the SRS check, which is great because that's one other thing off the list. But the bad news is it's cost $3,300. Oh well. On to the next thing. So far, we've passed the airbag SRS check, the frame report, the wheel alignment, and have also written a full report documenting the invoices and repair process. The only thing now was to take the Cayenne to the VIB inspection with all the paperwork. So it's finally time, guys. We are now on the way to the VIB inspection, and I've got a fat stack of papers, including the report that I wrote up. We've got the SRS check, the frame report, alignment, invoices, everything in here. There's like probably 120 pages in here or so. I hope we pass. If we didn't have to do this, the car would be already back on the road, just like the E63. This is it. Wish me luck.